Okay, have I hit my mark? Yes. Always important to hit your mark. Hello, denizens. Some of you have asked about the sound here on Science Tech Stand Up, the odd peas popping and breath thumping. Well, it is stand up. It's in the name. If I wanted this to sound like a podcast, I would have called it Science Tech Podcast. No, man, the mistakes make this sound raw and real. And that's what I'm all about. I'm not just raw. I'm quite chafed, and I will be putting some Johnson's talcum down there. The big news up here, however, in Canada, is that NDP MP Heather McPherson says that Canada's Heritage Committee has decided to summon Facebook chief Mark Zuckerberg to testify about regulating online hate, our online hate speech. Our parliamentarians are very concerned about Facebook's ability to self-police on its platform and the company's effect on the Canadian news industry, the kid on the corner selling papers. I've decided to let this event help me educate you, my American listeners, about what represents hate speech here in Canada. We have lots of rules in Canada. We are just like those socialist Scandinavian countries, but with fewer bicycle lanes. We don't have a First Amendment per se. We have a freedom of speech clause in our Charter of Rights and Freedoms, but it has limits. The first limit is that it is more important for the government of Canada to fret about hate speech and hurt feelings than providing many remote Indigenous communities a source of fresh drinking water. That's number one. Number two, the second limit is that Quebec can get away with everything and English Canada cannot. It's pretty straightforward. We are not allowed to make poutine, the famous Quebec delicacy made from potato fries, cheese curd, and chicken grease drippings in English Canada. That is cultural appropriation. English Canadians, or as we are better known as Mois Anglaises, are not allowed to celebrate when the Montreal Canadiens lose a hockey game. That is mandatory prison time. We cannot discuss the fact that without Alberta's provincial transfer of payments program, that Quebec would be utterly bankrupt. Can't say that. We also have to shut up when Ottawa continues to protect and hire crime-riddled Quebec engineering firms just to keep Quebec votes. In that regard, we are no different from you Americans. A few other things non-Quebec related. It is hate speech to utter Carrie Fraser's name here in Toronto. You'll have to look that up. Speaking of Toronto, that is a swear word everywhere else in Canada. Comparing Vancouver to Portland, but stupider, is a hate crime there. And finally, don't say large thunder in Jesus if you're ever visiting Newfoundland, because no one says that there, and you will be hauled up in front of Newfoundland's Human Rights Council, which is two guys in an ice hut, faster than a cod in a net. Oh, and making reference to Newfoundland's depleted cod stock is also an offense. I hope that was helpful to all my American listeners as you wait for our border to open so you can avail yourselves of our lower dollar. As far as the Facebook prez coming to Canada, Zuckerberg and Sheryl Sandberg ignored a previous summons from our House of Commons Ethics Committee 2 years ago regarding the Cambridge Analytics scandal. So there's no hope in hell of the Zook coming here, unless it's for the 2-for-1 lobster special at Cape Breton's Harbor Restaurant and Bar. It's very good. Did you hear about the weird Twitter glitch Anyone who tweeted the word Memphis the other day got suspended for 12 hours. It happened to me. I tweeted, I touched her Memphis. I got suspended just for tweeting Memphis. I hate Twitter. And speaking of Amazon, no, I wasn't. But stand-ups have to come up with clever segues, and I came up empty. Have you heard of Kaopang? It's the Amazon of Korea, and it's huge. Kaopang is the largest online store outside of China and the US. I mentioned it because we here in North America are so culturally closed off that we only know what is in our own navels. And mine would require a rotozip and a pressure washer to find out what's down there. It seems the more digitally connected we are globally, we somehow, the less we know about each other. We think advanced technology only springs out of Silicon Valley, but the valley's influence is shrinking daily. And just like America's declining digital dominance, look no further than America's declining game show dominance. It used to be that all the great crappy game shows like The Price is Right or Match Game, well, they all came from the US. Now, all the cool shows are coming from overseas, like The Masked Singer is from Korea. Speaking of Korea, The Voice came from the Netherlands. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and Weakest Link came from the UK. Deal or No Deal was also from the Netherlands. The big game show up here in Canada is Beaver Slapping Party, which has not made it to the US yet for some reason. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call in the business a callback. Thank you. My work here is done. Be seeing you.